and I went to Alferdoos in Sharjah with my friends from the masjid. I went to the first masjid, which is, by the name, if I did not say, was known as the Bilal Masjid. Bilal Masjid. Friends came from there to the center with me. I had friends from the center, I had other friends. But Ashrin, Sadiq were there, friends were there. And I said, Shahada. And with all my brothers, with Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, hearing my statement, I knew that it's hard to describe the feelings. Even in English for me it's hard to describe. But it was an opening of the heart. It was, we have an expression in English, a load off the shoulders. It gave my life direction. And it was the beginning of the rest of my life in a lot of ways. Everything is now in perspective for me. Because before, I read one time, I forget where, but it was a book by a Muslim scholar, and he was talking about submission. Submission. Of course, Islam is about submission, and he was saying that submission is inevitable for humans, all humans, because we are weak, we are dependent on everything. You know, we need everything. We can't be alone, live on a desert island and survive. Okay, so we submit to things. The world I came from, of the non-believers, there's plenty of submission there. Mathalan, submission to materialistic things. That's the big one. In anything, house, car, money. You always have to have the next newest car. And I can't understand any other way now. I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. And I could talk forever, probably, and you'd be bored. But for me, also, it's about a lot of things about common sense. Rububiyyah leading to uluhiyyah, of course. And I think that's the major problem with Christianity, is that they claim that there is one God. But then, when you look into the details, and you ask somebody who is knowledgeable about it, it takes them an hour to explain it. Okay, it takes them an hour to explain what the Trinity is. And if it takes somebody an hour to explain why something is 3 equals 1, then it's wrong. It's just wrong. And so I think I covered all my points. I think if you have any questions, please ask me. Please, brother, yes.
Thank you, brother. But what was your family's reaction?
Good, very good
because
question.
I believe that, everybody who tries to change his religion, it's not an easy decision.
And did you try to call them to Islam?
Yes, very good question. And I was going to talk about it, and I forgot, so thank you. Of course, I was not Muslim until I moved to Sharq al-Awsat, to the Middle East. In the U.S., I was not Muslim. And my parents had no idea that I was even interested in being Muslim. My parents and I were not very close. Growing up, there was problems. People who have lived in America or from America know that sometimes in America families aren't as important as they are here. Families are less important, smaller, less important. But we got to learn, okay, relationship was okay. Not too bad, not too good. Wasat. So I soon learned, which I did not know, that my first responsibility as a new Muslim was to talk to my parents and try to save them. Yes, right. I did not know. I said, Shahada, and by the way, my friend said, oh, by the way, your first job is to call your parents. I said, mashallah, okay, I will. But I didn't. I waited, because I wanted to do it face-to-face. So I waited a couple of months. I went home to visit. And my parents were shocked, surprised. They did not understand. Unfortunately, they are not open-minded, closed-minded. like many Americans. They believe everything that they see on the news. They have never left the United States. And those are difficult barriers to overcome. But I tried. I talked to them for a long time. I said, this is, a good thing in my life. This is the solution to a lot of things in my life. I told them why. I told them I'm happy or not. I told them everything from the religious angle why it makes sense. La ilaha illallah. If you believe that, you must be a Muslim. You must. And after a day or so, they said, halas. I said, we don't want to talk to you about it anymore. They said, go away. They did. They said to me, halas. In English, of course. So I said, fine. There's only so much I can do. So I came back to here, to home. And recently, if I talk too long, let me know. They called me for Thanksgiving. The Thanksgiving holiday was last month. It's a holiday in the United States. People get together and eat, and it's a silly holiday. So they called me and invited me back to the U.S., which they'd never done before. So I said, maybe they have plans for me. Okay, maybe they've had time to think about what they're going to say to me. Okay. So, but they're my parents, so of course I was able to fly home. I had some airline miles, so I used them, and I went back. And I was right. They sat me down and they said, "What is wrong with you?" I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "What is wrong with you? What happened? What happened over there? What happened to you in your life? What is going wrong here, there, anywhere that made you do this?" I kind of shook my head and I said, and the question was, is there something wrong that led you to do this?
Yes.
And my answer was, yes. And their eyes they were confused. I said, yes, there was something wrong. Yes, in my life, in my faith, in my religion, there were things wrong. Everything was wrong. But Islam was the solution. They looked at me. They had thought for weeks about this question. They don't understand. They don't understand. And so then they said, halas. So, but step by step, maybe over time, as the years go by, they will see my life is better. I'm a better person now. Maybe they will accept Islam, because we need to save them from the hellfire.
May Allah guide them to the right.
So.